The Mahabharata is a saga defined by divine warriors and magical weapons. Yet the most destructive force in this massive conflict was a single man who fought with nothing but a pair of dice. Shakuni was the prince of distant Gandhara, located in modern-day Pakistan. Although geographically an outsider, his role as the maternal uncle to the ruling Kaurava brothers gave him the status of a trusted family insider. Ancient texts describe Shakuni as the earthly incarnation of Dwapara, a cosmic entity that presides over the third age of time. He was born from the fury of the gods, specifically to dismantle righteousness. Shakuni operated as a cosmic saboteur, methodically dismantling his enemies from within the safety of their own court. The Kuru dynasty was at a breaking point. Their rivals, the Pandava brothers, had just established a new capital at Indraprastha, achieving a level of wealth and imperial status that shifted the balance of power. This chart shows the military and economic disparity between the two families. Shakuni's nephew, Duryodhana, was consumed by a helpless jealousy, but he knew a direct military strike against the Pandavas would be suicidal. Shakuni saw an opportunity in this stalemate. He proposed a shift away from physical combat, moving the conflict to a different kind of battlefield entirely. To defeat an otherwise invincible enemy, Shakuni chose a strategy of asymmetrical warfare, targeting the mind instead of the body. Shakuni began his psychological targeting with Yudhishthira, the eldest Pandava. He knew the king suffered from a gambling addiction that far outweighed his actual skill at the game. To force the game into existence, Shakuni and Duryodhana cornered King Dhritarashtra. They used the prince's threat of suicide as emotional leverage, eventually breaking the king's resolve. The wise counselor Vidura warned the court of the coming disaster, but Shakuni bypassed these concerns by invoking royal honor. He used the strict protocols of the Kuru court to ensure that a formal invitation to play could not be refused. Bound by their unwavering sense of royal obligation, the Pandavas felt they had no choice but to accept. They walked into the trap of their own volition. Once the game began, Shakuni made a move that shattered courtly norms. He stepped in to roll the dice as a proxy for his nephew Duryodhana. This chart illustrates the systematic stripping of the Pandava estate. Through sleight of hand, Shakuni won 20 throws. Yudhishthira lost his wealth, kingdom, and brothers. Finally, he wagered himself and his wife, Draupadi. Her public humiliation marked a total collapse of human dignity. Draupadi fought back with words, questioning the court's legality until the king was forced to restore the Pandavas' freedom and possessions. Shakuni immediately countered this recovery. He goaded the brothers into one final winner-takes-all round. He won again, forcing the Pandavas into a 13-year exile. By stripping his rivals of their status so completely, Shakuni ensured that any future reconciliation would be impossible. Bloodshed was now the only remaining path. When the 13-year exile failed to break the Pandavas' spirit, the Kurukshetra War became the only way to settle the debt. Shakuni traded his dice for a chariot, serving as an active battlefield commander, using illusion tactics against Arjuna. But the violence he orchestrated turned on him. Shakuni watched his brothers and son die before being decapitated by Sahadeva on the final day. The mastermind who bypassed physical combat to win a kingdom was destroyed by the very violence he set in motion. Later regional retellings, such as Jain versions of the story, evolved Shakuni's character into a traumatized survivor driven by a multi-generational revenge plot. These legends suggest Shakuni's family was starved to death by the Kuru kings, and that he fashioned his infallible dice from his own father's bones to ensure the dynasty's downfall. Even though these stories conflict with the original text, they highlight Shakuni's enduring legacy as a figure of calculating vengeance. Shakuni remains the definitive archetype of the architect of chaos. He proved to history that the deadliest weapon in any war is the mind of a master manipulator.